In one of my YouTube shorts, I briefly talked about the test map in SBA, but now I'd like to make a whole video dedicated to it because it's quite interesting. So, if you don't know, the test map was a thing you could access on old versions of Super Bear Adventure, before Behemoth Desert came out. This map was, well, a test map, so it had a lot of weird things in it. So, I would like to show you some of them. So up first we have the quad bike here, which most of you know obviously because it did end up making it in the final version. Although the physics of this quad bike are very wonky and a little hard to control, which has since been taken out the game. As you can see here, when you're in the air, the quad bike does some very strange movement, to say the least, which you cannot replicate today. There's also this giant loop at the start of the map, which, well, doesn't work great, to say the least. We can actually see a way better loop in the final game on the looping track in the arcade, which probably partly originated from the idea of this beta loop. Over here, there's a lot of purple honey-infested turtles all clumped together. Also, for some reason, there's these weird small shop platforms that do nothing? Anyways, if you walk a little further out, you can actually see a dark pyramid texture. This is pretty similar to the texture seen in the old Turtle Golem fight. This is pretty cool since we've never seen this in the game. Besides some blocks in this bumpy grass, that's basically it. For this map, at least. Yep, you heard me, there's another test map inside the test map. But this one shows off a beta version of Behemoth Desert, so let's look into it. So to access this test map, all you have to do is go onto this teleporter right near this pyramid and boom, you're here. First off, this beta version of Behemoth Desert feels a lot bigger than the current one, but I'm not sure if that's just because of how empty it is. Anyways, right at the start of the level, there's a map that shows you where you are and important landmarks close by. The first thing you'll probably notice is the huge pyramid near the start. Just like the finished version, this area was supposed to lead you to the boss. Although the way this sign talks about it, it seems it wasn't always supposed to be just a dark maze, and instead you'd have to light things up to find your way. Getting the things we see in the finished version out of the way, there's an oasis that looks exactly like the finished version, just with no crocodiles and only one house. Oh, and by the way, since there wasn't a model for the houses in the desert yet, all of them are kinda just blocks. So yeah, keep that in mind. Over here we have a tower with spiral stairs that sort of looks like a small version of the big tower with moving platforms. Or maybe this was before a final design of the small tower that comes up when you activate this lever over here. Also, on top of here we have a jump pad that takes you up very, very high. And there's a gold quad bike, which if you don't know is basically just a faster version of the normal quad bike. We have another block village over here, which most likely became the Fennec village that we see in the final map. Speaking of stuff we see in the final map, this beta version doesn't have any elevated part of the desert, so that must have been thought up later. Also, there's a lot of random stuff just in the middle of nowhere for no real reason, so that's interesting. Which reminds me, there's a cool spinning platform here that doesn't show up in the final map. But it's cool to mess around with, so I thought I'd mention it. Well, besides a bunch of desert, that's basically it. Well, at least for this map. Nah, I'm joking. There's not another one. So that's it for this SBA Explained. Hope you enjoyed this recap on the test map, and goodbye.